Hello, Maggie. Hello. Let me see. How do I fix it so then it just like hi.
Hi.
There. Hello. I'm just figuring out how to use my backdrop. Oops. Enter 2 people. View. Waiting room. Admit all.
Wait, I'm your evaluator and I know nothing about your speech. I had sent you an email this morning, but you probably didn't.
Oops. Sorry. Sorry.
Is it a project? What's the title? All that kind of stuff.
Let me admit all these people and I'll talk to you.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just having to let everyone in. I just need to redo that. So yeah, and hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I'm gonna also assign a co-host. Hello, it's good to have I'm gonna assign a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever reason, it's always good to have a backup. Good. Okay. Yes, it's not a project. It's the continuation of the project that I was doing on the 4D system. And today is about making decisions.
Making decisions. That's the title or something like that?
Yeah, the 4D system making decision. Yeah, is the second portion of the system, the second word of the system. Yeah. So I just haven't figured out where to put it into.
Is there any particular thing you want me to be looking for?
Let me see. What particular thing are you looking for?
You don't have to have anything. I just can do it in general if that's. But
yeah, just a general overall, my pacing, my summarizing it up, that kind of stuff, or organization is my thing. So that would be good, something to look out for to help me organize.
Okay. And what's the name of the system again? Remind me.
The 4D system to 4D success.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
4D stand for desire, decision, determination, and doing.
Yeah. So Steve will introduce that, then you have a grip of it.
Oh, okay. So there is an introduction then. It wasn't on the agenda page.
Oh, I probably didn't put up this, my bad. Yeah, so he will give you a introduction. Anyone else is coming in? So we have 5 here today. Is that right?
So far.
So far. Hello, everybody. I do have a flag. Fancy that. I asked to do a flag and then a minute of silence and then we try and pray for the chaos before last week. Oh, it's crazy. Okay, I got my flags. I have Jorge. Hello, welcome, Jorge. Hello. You're here. That's important.
Boy, what you're singing sounds like the first song in the musical. Oh gosh, the Book of Mormon.
Who are me or who is?
You're just singing your hello song. Sounds sounds a lot like that.
Oh, I would love to hear what that song sounds like.
See that show? Definitely see it. It's hilarious.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Funny thing is also.
If you're not a Mormon, it's hilarious. I don't know if you are a Mormon. That might not be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Buddhist, but I'm spiritual. So anything that makes you a good person is a good thing.
Well, I wouldn't go to this particular musical for that. It's more of a satire than spiritual.
Look like Jorge is taking us to the ocean view there.
I am. That's actually Lake. That's Slide Park.
Oh,
I recognize.
One of my pictures got viewed 300,000 times from Sly Park.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm one of the Google guys.
I've been sailing on Sly Park, Jenkinson Lake many times.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun.
Well, I got to go one time before the.
Welcome, Petrice.
Well, actually, it was during the pandemic, but it was on the weekend, and it was before it got really bad. It was nice there. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Hello, Matt. Welcome, Matt. Welcome to Statement Maker, Matt. I'm the welcome.
You're the welcome, Matt.
I'm the welcome, Matt.
Yeah. What a sense of humor.
There is a
Wait.
welcome mat.
Hui,
Yes.
how long is your speech?
I say 5 to 7 minutes, but then I believe it might go to as much as 8 minutes.
Well, then
I
you
have-
better say 6
Wait,
to
we'll,
8. If
we'll
you,
do 6 to 8 minutes. Yeah, I'll have a clock here too and try to wrap it up. Welcome Shrilu to the house. Welcome back. Hi
Hey.
Shrilu, welcome. Happy New Year.
hello, Shrilu.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Been a long time.
It has been a long time. Yeah, it's been since last year. We haven't heard from you.
Yep, I've been a bit busy, but glad to be back.
I do have that.
Shrilu, can you help out with a job?
Yes, I actually signed up for a timer and a joke master right before, like about an hour back.
All right. Okay, that's
Does
wonderful.
that still work, or do you want me to do something else too?
No, well, that sounds like enough to me.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
All right.
Have you found a grammarian, Steve?
No, I don't have a grammarian. If I'm looking, we all have jobs to do here, and I'm looking for one more body, maybe.
Anybody who doesn't
I
have
mean,
a job.
I'll leave it up to. I just don't want to overload anybody. If you're, you know,
I
general
could probably do a
evaluator.
grammarian too, Steve.
While you
Uh,
time?
Well,
While your timing is not
time,
good.
yeah, timer
No?
and grammarian cannot work.
No, go
Can't do
together. Yeah.
Okay.
I could actually do timer and ballot counter if that'll open
then
up this.
Sri Luke and grammarian.
Yeah. So grammarian and joke master. Perfect.
Okay, Jorge, you got it. Thank you.
And actually, I just want, if you can share with me what the time constraints are one more time before we begin.
I will be 6
Well,
to 8
both-
minutes.
Well, yeah, hers is 6 to 8. I'll explain in a second. 6 to 8, and
Okay.
Dr. Petrice is going for 6 to 10. And on table topics, it's at a minimum of 1 minute. And what do we say? No more than 2 minutes?
No more than 2
1
minutes.
to 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then on evaluations, it's 2 to 3 minutes. And what you do is you take whatever the time boundaries are, and you show the red at the lower number, and the green at the upper number, and the yellow in the middle. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then you can always go 30 seconds over whatever it is and still qualify.
I have a question. If you are doing a project in Pathways and it says it has to be, for example, 3 to 4 minutes is the one that I'm doing next week. And I say, well, it's going to be 5 minutes just so that I don't get out of time. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Because
I know. We
Is
can
that-
go under or over.
I
Which
know,
is-
but I mean, if you can't be up for best speaker or best evaluator.
You can do 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay,
Or-
even though the project says 3 to 4. Okay,
Right, Margie, we allow people to change the time to what they need.
Mhm.
good to know, because I always run long.
Unless, they want a half hour or something.
Oh, sure, I get it.
All right, we're gonna get this meeting started because we're already running late and we got a full meeting. So Steve, you're a Toastmaster, take it away.
Take it away. All right. Welcome, everyone. I chose a theme today of new beginnings. And what brought that to mind was the new year, of course, but getting rid of 2020 and getting ready for something completely different. And then on a personal basis, we all have a chance to let go of the past and try something different that's hopefully better. So that was the thought there. I have a quote for you. T.S. Eliot said, "Every moment is a fresh beginning." Every moment. That's interesting. So we don't have any guests, so we don't necessarily have to go through the roles. That'll save some time. What about an inspiration from Sandra?
Yep, I've got one handy. Let me share my screen. Can you see this?
I can.
Yes.
Yep.
I love this quote. Every time you are tempted to react in the same old way, ask if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future.
I like that. Love it.
There you have it, friends, and let me unshare.
Thank you, Sandra. And Shrilu, I guess, thought she'd bring a joke. So can you do that?
Yep, I actually have a couple of jokes here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So the first one, is Google male or female? Female, because it doesn't let you finish a sentence before making a suggestion.
Is that true? That's not true.
I don't know, maybe it's true in my case, but one more. Okay, here it goes. Teacher, if I gave you 2 cats, another 2 cats, and another 2, how many would you have? Johnny, 7. Teacher, no, listen carefully. If I gave you 2 cats and another 2 cats and another 2, how many would you have? Johnny, 7. Teacher, let me put it differently. If I gave you 2 apples, another 2 apples, and another 2, how many would you have? Johnny, 6. Good. Now, if I gave you 2 cats, another 2 cats, another 2, how many would you have? Johnny, 7.
He had 1 cat.
Johnny, where in the heck do you get the 7 from? Johnny, because I've already got a freaking cat.
I knew that was coming. Thank you.
All right.
Good
over to
thinking,
you,
Johnny.
Master.
All right. Jorge, are you okay with the timing? You think you can handle it okay? You okay with the timing?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm just taking
Okay.
the end being red, halfway point being green, and in between that yellow, if that's okay. And it seems that Way and Petrice have different times. Way
Yeah.
has 8, and then Petrice has 6 to 10, with tabletop topics 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluator 2 to 3.
Yeah, hold it up so we can see it to your chest. Don't just wave and put it away quickly. So at least for a few seconds we can see it. I appreciate
Today,
that.
I have a surprise for you today, and you'll be impressed because you inspired me. So
Oh, all right. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Who's grammarian again?
I am the grammarian, Steve.
Can you make up a word of the day, or I don't want to put you on the spot.
Okay, let me quickly look up if that's okay. Or if
Okay.
anybody has any word of the day, then feel free to. Okay, why don't you go ahead, Steve? I'll just
Okay.
look it up like in a minute.
Okay. Well, we don't need the word of the day till table topic, so get that. And in the meantime, I'll do the speakers. And our first speaker is our host, Hue, and she's doing the second part of a 4-part presentation about her 4D system for success. The 4 Ds are desire, decision, determination, and doing. So today she's going to talk about the decision part of that. She has been the founder and chief executive officers of Polarity for Harmony. She's a master energy healer, certified dream, and has over 20 years experience using her own unique restorative process that corrects reverse polarity and creates a balanced life. She's been an entrepreneur for the last 14 years And she's done transformational healing for thousands of people by detecting and releasing their negative energies. But her superpower is identifying and removing hidden traumas. So the 4D system is what she's going to share with you today, us today. That's the decision part. And the name of her presentation is Helping You Create a Dream Come True Life. 6 to 8 minutes, right? So please welcome Hue.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever made a decision and regretted because of just some pure desire and then quickly make the decision and doing it and not realizing it wasn't thoroughly thought through? Mr. Toastmaster, the decision part of the 4Ds, for those who missed the first part, I'm not going to reiterate, but this is one of the second important, I would say, it's one of the most important part, not to be biased, in this system. You can desire many things, but when you make one wrong decision, it can detrimentally cause many harms. And decision is something after you desire is deciding to go forward with it, whether you set a date, whether you sign a treaty to get going with it. And another one of the thing is when decision is not thoroughly thought out, it can consider is called unintended consequences. Give an example. One of the unintended consequences, long time ago, somebody have introduced the cane toads to Australia in hope to eat away the spider on the cane farms, not thoroughly thinking it through, realizing, not seeing further what it could happen. It detrimentally had a big effect on the economy and the environment, and it's pretty bad. I don't want to have to go there, but that is one of the poor thought through about a decision. Another simple one, everyone heard about the rabbits. Some years ago it was introduced for hunting perhaps, and then they didn't know it reproduces. So I believe in Australia, we made some silly choices, and we probably have the most longest ever fence around the country, the longest fence for rabbits to keep rabbits out of crops. So those are some of the unintended consequences. The reason I brought that up because as much as we desire things, whether it's a new career, a new move, even a simple new jacket, I almost had a unintended consequences by buying a big giant coat if someone didn't stop me, because I thought I'll take it to my seamstress and she can take it in and realize, oh, if I had made that poor choice and decided to go with that coat, it would have cost me about $100 to get that fixed to my perfect size. So that's what I wanted to say is about decision is really go within. How important is this items, this dream, a sport, an activities, a goal? How really important is it for you to decide on a day? And of course, things that go through really well because it's well thought out. For example, I have decided to travel the world. Everyone heard of that story. And I've decided to set a date on it because my desire for it is so far-fetched up here. And I did really thought through a lot of things. And it made perfect sense to me. I didn't really harm anybody in the process. And it required a lot of discipline, but that's something that was thought through. And another simple thing that was thought through is making a decision to buy a house, for example. I had a perfect location and it was everything that I desire and dream of, everything in my mind I created. And yes, I thought through really well. I could afford it, the monthly payment, and it was perfect where it is for my children. And everything was thought out to the point that was perfection. And that was considered as the right decision. So that was like, I just want to give you that two extreme when you come to think about the decision part of the 4D system is making that decision. And along the way, let me tell you about decision making. Sometimes you can make a good decision you thought would go through. And sometimes you can share a dream about this desire. If you share that dream to a wrong person, of course, they love you dearly and they don't want you to get hurt. But sometimes because of their fear can really interfere with your dream. And you didn't pursue with it because it's their way of protecting you, or their way of like not making you hurt or going that route. So that is something to go back into that. How do I deal with this doubter? You see, the doubter will come in many parts, even the desire part. They'll come into the decision part. So you have to watch out for that doubter, that voices in the back, that who am I to have that? So that is another consequences as well, whether good or bad. And thankfully, I do have a good friend who had, going back to the story about my blue coat that I really wanted, but you do have really good friends that does mean well as well. Not all friends and family don't mean well. They had good intention. But like my friend, she did means well. She's a seamstress and her family's seamstress. And as I was sharing with her my desire to have this beautiful blue coat that I saw online and I really wanted it, and I told her my decision to buying it. I told her what I was going to do with it. And she told me, did you realize it's going to cost a lot more than what it's worth? Do you really want to go through that pain of paying that extra $100 to get it fixed to your size? And then I stopped there. I did not pursue more, even though I'd really desire it. And that's another way to look at back and remember to go within here before you make a decision. Look for the long term, sequence it out. Is this really necessary? Do I really, really, really want this? Or before you make a decision to sign off something, look at the long-term consequences or unintended consequences that one can put through. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Hue. I'm going to give you a second to go to the chat portion there and give Hue any comments you'd like to give. What she did well, what she could improve. Jorge, that is impressive.
Like I said, Wei was my inspiration, and I was going to reach out to ask how to do it, but I just navigated this thing called the internet to try to figure it out, and I did.
Even more impressive.
Thank you.
I'm writing a quick note to Hue. Okay, we're really, really lucky today because we have a second speaker, and it's Dr. Petrice Foxworthy. And she's doing the Visionary Communications Path today, Researching and Presenting Project. The time on this is 6 to 10, am I correct? Okay, let me tell you a little bit about what you're about to hear. Dr. Petrice Foxworthy has been a chiropractor for 20 years. And during that time, she's learned about many natural ways to keep ourselves healthy and strong without using medications, drugs, or surgery. Today, she's going to share a shortened version of her health workshop. So that's what she's going to cover. Please help me welcome Dr. Petrice Foxworthy with the title, Health, Another Perspective. Dr. Petrice.
Thank you, Steve, fellow Toastmasters. My talk is evolving a little bit from what I told Steve. It's not going to be my health talk, but in doing my research for this project, I found a lot of information out. And along that way, I would like to pose a question. The last 9 to 10 months have been a very different time for most of us in our lifetime. And just by a show of hands, I want to see how many of you have been paying more attention or been more aware about your health this past year than any year prior. Thank you. And that's kind of what I expected. There's nowhere we can go these days without hearing a message that we hear about all the time, how many new cases of COVID there are, how many deaths there are, what's going on with COVID, hospitals are overwhelmed. It's constantly in our face. Even if you don't watch the news, if you check on social media, you'll see something. If you're driving in your car, listening to the radio, you'll hear the DJs saying something. No matter how much you try, and I try, to stay away from hearing those messages all the time, it's just constantly in our minds the last 10 months. The good part of it is a lot of us are paying more attention to our health and doing some steps to be healthier. The bad side is we really only get one perspective. We only hear what medicine is doing to try and help us. And we don't ever hear what we can do to help ourselves be the best that we can be, the healthiest we can be, so that potentially we don't go down that same path. And today, that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share some health statistics, why you might want to change your perspective a little bit. And then I'm going to talk to you about what we can do to stop weakening our immune system so we're the strongest that we can be. To kick us off, I would like to share a quote. This is from a Dr. Ian Tolberg. He is the medical director of University of Colorado Health Urgent Care Locations. And he said, people need to be doing things like regular and healthy eating, regular and healthy exercise, and regular and healthy stress management. If we're healthy, our bodies are better able or better adapted to handle microbial insults than if we're overweight and overly stressed. Such a powerful statement that there is a lot in our control that we can do. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but germs, viruses, they're here to stay. We live with them every single day. We come across millions, billions of them every single day. I'm going to ask another question. How many of you live in a house with someone else and that someone else got sick, but you did not? Or vice versa, you got sick and they didn't get sick. Why is that? We typically eat the same foods. We typically breathe the same air. We typically are in a similar environment. So we're being exposed to those same germs. Why aren't we getting sick, but they did? I know just recently my daughter had a bout with sore throat. No one else in the house got sick, but she did because of high levels of stress for her. But there's a reason why we don't all get to the same illnesses, even in the environment. And today I will look at that to make us that we can, because what we constantly are in the media, and hopefully my internet stays stable,
So
is we
turn
have
off your video. Turn off your video.
Okay.
That way it's easier, sorry. So that way you can have more bandwidth.
We have the best healthcare system in the world, right? That's what we're led to believe. We're leading the charge. We're getting out those vaccines. We got the best healthcare system in the world. Let's talk about some statistics. The US makes up 5% of the world's population. Yet we consume 50% of the medications that are made in the world. 5% of the population consuming half of the medications made in the world. There are 13 prescriptions filled for every person in the United States every single year. Now, I'm assuming that means if you take, let's say, a thyroid medication, and that's refilled every month, that's 12 prescriptions for one person. But I know in my family, there's only one of us that takes a prescription. It's only filled 4 times a year. That means somebody else is taking 39 medications that would otherwise have gone to my family. That's a lot of medications. We spend $10,739 on healthcare per every man, woman, and child in the United States. And we are ranked 38th in the world, according to Health. And of those 38 countries, a lot of them are countries that we would not put on par with the United States. We're talking second, third world type countries that do better than the United States on healthcare, yet we spend so much more. And in one study where they looked at 10 other nations in addition to the United States, Australia, Canada, several European countries, we spend twice as much as other countries, yet we have the lowest life expectancy and the highest suicide rates out of that 11. I don't think we're the best healthcare system in the world. And part of that is because we put such an emphasis on medication and intervention and not as much of an emphasis on health. What can you do to stop making your immune system weaker? There's often let's make our immune system stronger. And then you hear clashing about, well, I have an autoimmune. I can't make my immune system stronger. It's not good for me. Well, the reality is we don't necessarily need to make our immune system stronger. They're strong. What we have to do is stop weakening them. So what things do we do that weakens our immune system? First, we do not drink enough water. We drink plenty of tea, coffee, beer, soda, wine. The list goes on, but we do not stay hydrated. Our mucosal membranes are made up of a lot of water. They are our first line of defense when we're out and about being exposed to these germs and viruses. If they're dry and dehydrated, which you can't necessarily tell, you're going to be more susceptible to getting those into your body. Second, sugar. We eat so much sugar. There's so much hidden sugar in our foods. Things like breads, soups, salad dressings, pastas, all have sugar in them. So you have to be very mindful about what your sugar intake is, because that depresses our immune system immediately. And it takes a while to come back from that. Stress is a big one. I don't know about the rest of you, but this last year, it's been pretty stressful. And stress is a fight or flight response. It's a survival response. It is great for keeping us alive, short term. Long term, it depresses our immune system. And we can have stress in our system, but not necessarily feel stressed. That's what I do as a chiropractor all the time, is work with people and reducing that stress level. Some of the research I did on this, there's 2 vitamins that are incredibly cheap, yet research is showing incredibly helpful in reducing the risk that you will either get COVID or have a severe case of COVID. And the number one that came up repeatedly was vitamin D. Now you want vitamin D3, that's the form. And you want your blood levels, you can get a test. It's really the best way to determine how much D you need to take and where your levels are at. Most of us are very deficient, especially where we live, especially this time of year. We cannot make vitamin D if we go out in the sun no matter how long you stay out there. So our levels tend to get depleted. Ideal healthy levels are on a blood test come up as 65 nanograms. Now the studies I'm going to share with you involve nanomoles. So the measurement was a little bit different, but that equates to about 40 to 60 nanograms. There's a Spanish study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism that found 82% of COVID-19 patients were vitamin D deficient. There was a Philippine study where they looked at vitamin D. And if you were under 50 nanomoles, the probability of becoming severe or critical was 72% versus 7.2% if your vitamin D levels were above that 75 nanomoles. There is an Indonesian study that came up with very similar results. Yet the USDA recommended daily intake for vitamin D is 600 IUs a day. If you're deficient, 600 IUs is not going to get you there. If you're deficient in D and have been taking D for a while, there's likely an insulin resistance that's happening in your body. The two go hand in hand. If you have insulin resistance, getting your vitamin D levels up is very hard. And vitamin D, this is not it, but this small bottle of vitamin D, which has 5,000 IUs per little tiny tablet, cost under $10. Isn't that the most powerful thing you can take? That's cheap, it's easy, and has amazing protective abilities. Add in some C, take adequate water, you're going to be a rock star when it comes to fighting any bacteria, any virus that comes to town. Because, like it or not, they're here to stay. We need to make ourselves the strongest we can be. If we're looking at a pond and the fish are sick, we don't take the fish out, inject them with a bunch of stuff and throw them back in and say, you should be healthy now, go for it. No, we change the environment that those fish are in. It's time that we start changing the environment that our bodies are in so that we can be healthy and strong, and we don't have to be afraid of the next virus, cold, flu, whatever that comes to town, because we know we have an immune system that can fight that stuff every day. Thank you. Another perspective.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Petrice. That was awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Petrice. Take just a second and go to the chat session and give her some feedback, please, if you can. I'm just finishing up a couple of notes. Jorge, how did the two speakers do on their time?
So Wei made time, and Petrice was a few minutes over on her speech.
A few minutes over. Okay. Good speeches.
Very good speeches.
Well, let's try table topics. That sounds like fun. How about Matt Peterson, Dr. Matt Peterson?
I'm not a doctor. Thank you, Dr. Steve. Thank you, Steve. Okay, this is table topics. This is the impromptu portion of the meeting. So the time limits for table topics: green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1.5, red card at 2 minutes.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Let's check and see if we have a word of the day. I forgot.
That's right. Okay. Do we have a word of the day, Lou?
Yeah, I do have a word of the day. Let me pull it up. Sorry. Okay. So the word is called rapport. It's spelled as R-A-P-P-O-R-T and pronounced as rapport. The definition, the meaning of the word is a friendly, harmonious relationship, especially a relationship characterized by agreement, mutual understanding, or empathy that makes communication possible or easy.
Okay.
Okay.
And I
Thank
can
you.
give a quick example. Once our daughter had developed a rapport with her piano teacher, she began to show some real enthusiasm for learning and practicing the piano.
Okay, thank you. So try to use rapport in your response, table topic response. So this is new beginnings. So what's new that you're going to do in 2021? So what have you been putting off that you're going to do in 2021? Any volunteers? Okay, Srilu?
Right. Good afternoon, statement makers. 2021 is an interesting year for all of us, but we can already tell there's a lot of positive things to look forward to. On a personal note, the one thing that I am going to actively go after in 2021 and continuing forward is just getting things done. No more lists, no more making a plan. Well, I plan to make a plan, but then just the call to action, right? Taking care of something right away without postponing. That's my biggest thing. And I've already started implementing it right from like the New Year's Day, and I'm seeing great results. It just makes me feel very happy and a sense of fulfillment that I'm not putting off things. And it seems like I'm able to get done a lot versus keeping a list of things, you know, that list causing stress because the list is not coming down. So my thing for 2021 is, as Nike's slogan says, just do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srilu. Next question is about resolution. What is your Toastmaster resolution in 2021? So Sandra, what's your Toastmaster resolution in 2021?
Well, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters. My resolution in Toastmasters for 2021 is to build as much of a rapport with my fellow Pasco bilingual Toastmasters fellow members as I can. I have put off learning how to speak Spanish for a lifetime. I have decided that 2021 is the year I am going to learn Spanish. I have joined a bilingual club. It meets at noon every Friday online. I have challenged myself to present at least a partial speech in Spanish in the next month. I don't know that I'll be able to do the entire 4 to 6 minutes in Spanish, but I'm going to try to throw in phrases. I try to also bring a new phrase that I've learned in Spanish to the meeting every week. And this is how I'm going to go about learning. I have a Spanish journal that I'm writing down phrases, and I practice my Spanish on Duolingo daily. So that is my 2021 Toastmasters resolution. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Sandra. Next question, what is your regular New Year's resolution? Anybody? What is your New Year's resolution for 2021? Any volunteers?
If no one's talking, I will.
Okay.
Okay. I have given up New Year resolution as of just 2020. I had all this planned that didn't happen, so I decided no resolution, like Shrilu, just do it. And I know what I needed to do. I have a plan of actions. I know what I know need to do for my business. I know what I need to do for my health continuation. I know what I needed to do for my house. Is taking that action, going through that, my 4D system. How bad do I want my healthy home? How bad I do my healthy body? How bad I want my business to thrive? And those are just 3 categories I want to focusing on this year, and really taking a corner of my house and go for it and doing it, and continue stay off wheat for my body, continue on my whole plant base. And if I deter, go off track, I'm just going to get back on track. And yes, follow through with my business plan, follow through what my PRs tell me to do, follow through what my business coach tell me to do. And that's what I'm going to do this year, is taking action and doing it and achieving it. And then, yes, that's the main goals that I am focusing on this year. No New Year resolution, I have to acquire this, but knowing that those are the 3 things that I wish to acquire, I desire to have. And that's what I'm going to do 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Wei. Next question. What are you optimistic about in 2021? What are you optimistic about in 2021? Any volunteers?
Someone can time for Jorge.
Okay, Jorge, I think you've been voluntold. So, Jorge, what are you optimistic about in 2021?
So my resolution actually differs a little from Wei's and Shrilu, because I'm optimistic that I'll be able to accomplish the things that I plan, because with new beginnings brings new opportunities. And in order to accomplish those opportunities, you actually need to plan and prepare. So that's why I bring my at a glance 2021 planner. So I actually plan on writing things down, making a list, and I'll tell you what I'm accustomed to using, which are these lists and crossing out things and just, you know, I'm a list maker. And coincidentally, there's Toastmasters on this list. For some reason there's 2 of them. I don't know why, but I was able to cross one out recently, which happened after a call with Steve, who's my mentor. And I was able to select a pathway. And that was one of the things I was not able to accomplish. So I'm optimistic about moving forward in the new year with the selection of my new pathway, which is dynamic leader, and continuing to contribute to this group. And I think that that'll be possible for me, at least, with writing it down and scheduling it. And I think that really helps build rapport with family and friends and coworkers, because you're conscious of their time and you're respecting their time, and in turn they'll respect yours. And that's something that I think is important to build on that rapport and to keep it. And with that, I really personally feel that if you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. Back to you.
Love it.
Excellent, thank you. I think that's it for table topics. So, Shrilu, did our table topic contestants use the word of the day?
Everybody except me use the word of the day.
Isn't that how it is? The grammarian doesn't use it. Thank you. Jorge, how about the timers? Did everybody make timing report? Make the time constraints?
Everybody made time, yes.
Okay, so we can vote for best table topic. So you got Sandra, Shrilu, Jorge, and Wei. So send those to Jorge. Now return control back to Steve.
Very good. Very good. Well, I didn't get I didn't raise my hand to tell you what I was going to get done this year, but let me quickly, because it's important. I'm going to call Shrilu once a week and see what she's gotten done.
Good plan, Steve.
Okay, that's my goal.
I love it.
In the meantime, let's introduce a general evaluator, and I believe that is Sandra Nunez. Please welcome Sandra.
Hello, everyone. We will get moving. Jorge, the timing constraints for evaluators is 2 to 3 minutes. So the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2.5 minutes, and the red at 3 minutes, and they'll have 30 seconds after that to finish up. Our first evaluator evaluating WAY's presentation is Margie Bunting. Welcome, Margie.
Thank you, Sandra. Way, what I particularly like about your 4D series is that it's always relatable. I mean, who doesn't want a balanced life, which is what you are almost promising us by giving all these tips. And if that can help me have a balanced life, I'm all in. And I like the fact that you engaged us with a couple of questions at the beginning, not necessarily questions to be answered, but rhetorical questions, which I think always is good to engage an audience and get them with you early on. You asked me about the organization of the speech, what I thought about that. I thought it was excellent because you really enumerated a number of things that we can do in order to make the right decisions or even make a decision at all, including going within and making sure it's a well thought out decision. Is it something we really want? Do we really want it right now and for the right reasons? And also, could it cause any long-term or unintended consequences, which I think is definitely food for thought. Also, I particularly responded to your tip that you should be careful who you share your decision or your desire with, because even if people have good intentions, sometimes they have their own agenda or they feel like they know what's right for you more than you do. In other cases, they might be a very good person to talk to. So something you have to really keep in mind. I like the fact that you illustrated what's a good decision, what's a bad decision. Your decisions from Australia obviously were on one end of the fact, and the other end of the spectrum was your own personal experiences, which I always like it when people give personal anecdotes because it makes things much more personal. You asked me about the pace. I thought the pace was fine. I thought it was very easy to follow. I really enjoyed the pace, and I thought the organization was good, as I mentioned. I like the fact that when you talk to us, Hue, then you are always pleasant, you're always smiling, you are always enthusiastic, and that helps us to go along for the ride, I would say. You mentioned that, let's see, I have a couple of suggestions, and they're minor suggestions, but one was when you were talking about your own decision to travel the world, and you said, well, you all know about that. Just be mindful that some of us haven't heard that one maybe, or maybe we're not used to, and you can recap it for us. Also, you mentioned about the things going on in Australia, and you talked about the cane toads. You didn't tell us what happened with those. You said, I don't want to go into it, but I really wanted to know. You told us about the rabbits and what that caused, but I want to know about the cane toads, so we'll talk later on that. Also, you wanted to know about summarizing at the end. You did summarize. You summarized all the points that you made, but you summarized them all in one sentence. So I would have liked to hear maybe one sentence for each one, so that would stick with us for longer. And finally, I would like it if you, two things. One, in the beginning, you could have just summarized a little bit your desire speech, not the whole thing, but just a couple of sentences, so it would lay the foundation for the next. And at the end, you could lay the foundation for the next D, which is determination, I think. So we can all be looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margie. Next up to evaluate Petrice's presentation, please welcome Carla Carr.
Petrice, in the introduction, you had 20 years experience and you're going to be talking about natural ways without medication. That really interested me, especially with my age. You, as your introduction, you posed with a question and I go, okay, now she's starting with a question. I have to really listen. You're asking about pain. Of course I do have pain. Who doesn't have pain? Then you went into statistics. Then you went into immune system. You caught my attention. Drinking water. I need to drink water. And I keep on saying, where is my water bottle? We need to drink water. Sugar. I'm not a sugar person, but I know my belated husband was a sugar monster. You talked about vitamin D3, and that's what my doctor told me. We need vitamin D3. Listening to you, you have researched your topic. So I evaluated you in 3 things: how I heard you, how I saw you, and how I felt. And I heard you in all these things, and I listened in very carefully because I learned a lot, not knowingly that in the back of my mind, I was doing it, but it's a confirmation that indeed I must do more with the vitamin D3, with the water. However, I felt that possibly with all this information, I'd like to have some more information to be given out. Of course, with the internet interference, it was difficult, especially you living in Placerville. I know how it is. And especially too, that with all the voice interference too, sometimes it's very hard to hear too. But every little word, as you asked me to look at, to focus on your pauses, you were so eager to give us all this information. I wish that sometimes you would pause a little bit. So in that way, we could grasp the information and listen in more carefully with all this tons of information that you were giving us, and used also some paces. In conclusion, I believe I desire to learn more about your expertise and to hear more about your speeches in the future.
Thank you very much, Carla. Mr. Timer, how did the evaluators do on their time?
Now, this was really odd. They both made time, yet they were both the same amount of time, which I just found really interesting because it was the same minute and second. So I had to double check, make sure I was doing something right. It wasn't doing anything wrong. And so, but they both made time. Great.
Perfect. Everyone, please take a moment to vote for your favorite evaluator of the day. And while you're doing that, I won't take up too much time. I want to thank all of you for attending. It's good to see you, Shrilu. I think that thank you all for stepping up to fill roles. Shrilu, do you have a quick grammarians report?
Yes, I do. Okay, so just going over this quickly. Steve, I couldn't hear any ahs or ums or any crutch words. Hue, 1 ah, 3 ands. And I also picked up a couple of words, unintended consequences and detrimental, which were well used. Petrice, 2 arms. Sandra, none. Matt, none. Jorge, 2 so's, 1 2 arms and 2 ands. Margie, I couldn't find any crutch words, but I did pick up on a few very good words that she used. Enumerated, illustrated, personal anecdotes. Carla, I couldn't find any ahs or ums or any crutch words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Jorge, who are the winners today?
You know, I don't think we voted on speaker. Have we okay.
Patrice went over time. So we didn't need to.
Yeah. Hue is the winner because that's the way it goes.
Okay, so for table topics, I was the winner.
Yay.
And for the evaluator, Margie, congratulations. I share this with you.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much. I'm going to throw this over. Thank you, Steve, for being the Toastmasters today. I'm going to throw it back to our president, if you don't mind, since we're almost out of time here. Please welcome Petrice.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Steve, for a job well done. I love the fact that we get to meet via Zoom. However, there are some challenges. Jorge, I was laughing during your table topics because you were holding things up, but you became the invisible man. So as much fun and awesome as it is, obviously I was holding stuff up during my speech and realized, oh, no one can see me. My video stopped. That's the way it goes. I would like to ask everyone, as I am inspired by Matt Peterson's table topic questions, will you all please send me what your Toastmaster goals are for this year? And then I would like to share those, if you're okay with that, at our next meeting. If you're not okay, please just put that in your email to me. I want to know what your goals are so we can help you. I would like to share it with the club so we can all help you. But if you do not want that shared, please let me know and I'll be happy to not share it with anybody else. But I would like to know that. Our next meeting, I believe, is next Wednesday. I'm not even sure what day that is. Must be the 20th. And Carla, I am